higher vibrations, and so are you. And we have Guardian here. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. I'm sending you much love from Transylvania.
Thank
It's not too late around here, but it's in the evening right now. So it's awesome that we have this joint show again and have some interesting conversations about all types of stuff. Like we had a general guideline for today, like how to meditate, like how to work with your own energies, maybe healing as well. How does it work? And like how to keep yourself in balance. And also some other exotic questions came up.
yes.
And we will probably go with the flow and speak about a lot of unexpected stuff, as we usually do.
We usually do. Yeah, having a topic set is kind of a joke a little bit for me anyway. um, and before we get to into it, just to remind people that right now we're in an awesome energy portal space. So, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, especially, peaking in tomorrow as the 222 portal, February 22nd. Um, we're also having the celestial event that we've been kind of waiting for that was interpreted as divine feminine, divine masculine dancing. And it turns out they call it the kiss because the conjunction is so close between Venus and Mars, divine masculine, divine feminine, that they're in 1/2 degree of conjunction. So they look like they're kissing. So we're going to have a lot more ascension symptom kind of stuff and weird experiences. I don't know about anybody else, but I definitely haven't been getting much sleep. How about you, Guardian? Have you been getting much sleep?
Now I'm having the same issue here too. I think it's kind of started around the weekend right now.
Mm,
And even our little daughter, who's like asleep at 7 p.m. usually, like we're having very big difficulties like putting her to bed in
yeah,
time. And I also can't sleep. Like I usually go to sleep very easily, and now I just don't know what's happening. I just can't sleep for some reason. And I feel like very tired when I wake up, which is not a good sign.
yeah,
Although I'm doing all the right things, like I'm keeping my coffee in check so I don't drink too late, because like that can also disrupt your sleep.
hmm,
Like coffee has like 12 hours of it needs like 12 hours to properly break down in your system. So if within that 12 hours you want to sleep, you might sleep, but it won't be very restful, so you won't regenerate properly. Yeah,
right.
and also like spending time outside on the air, that also helps, or doing some kind of physical activity. And it still doesn't work. Like I don't know why I can't sleep.
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed that too. My issue has been, excuse me, um, waking up in profound dreams. I finally get to sleep and some crazy stuff's coming in. You know, lately, last night, the messages that kept coming in had to do with magnets, the magnet of the planet, and there was amplified where I live, and they were trying to explain why, and it was just one of those things. So when you'd wake up and try to shake it off so you can sleep again, I'd go outside, and then the moon, it's not a full moon yet, but it sure does look like it here anyway. It's so bright that it just illuminated the entire night.
Yeah, like it's going to be, I think, on Saturday or Sunday, the
Mhm.
full moon. And we're going to have a full moon meditation on Friday because I don't do live events on the weekends. We brought it a bit forward.
Right on. Well, I look forward to that, and you can find that on Guardian or Jay Zoltan. I will always refer to you in my heart as Guardian of Orion.
Yeah, I'm Guardian. Yeah, like,
For those of you who don't know, Guardian appeared into my world in 2020, May 2020. Actually, it was May 10th, 2020. Um, I know. And uh, I, at that point, had been operating under the expectation of not seeing or interacting with anyone who knew any of this stuff for another year or so at least. And so it was after all of those decades of being in these experiences all by myself, finding someone who was producing content on YouTube and had at that time been doing weekly group or live stream on Monday night for you. It was noon for me, and every Monday that's what I was doing. I wouldn't Nothing would get in the way, because not only was I talking with Guardian, I was talking with everybody in the audience. And I found people who talked about this stuff, who, and not only that, had some type of um, experience that they could convey to help me with that. And that's why we do what we do, is because of Guardian, actually. And so thank you so much, Guardian, for, this. And I was just thinking back last night, we went for months and months for a while where we would do weekly meetings together on Zoom on your channel. I mean,
Yeah, I
YouTube.
think almost a year or so.
Was it? Yeah, it was a while. And it was just such a beautiful experience to go through and talk about all these things. And so I'm so honored to have you come back and be in these conversations with me. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, it's awesome that we can do them once more again. So
Yeah.
I think we do them like every other week or like every 2 weeks or so. So that's
Something.
pretty cool too.
Okay, we can do it that often. Yeah, I would love that. Um, and having Guardian come and have conversation, we can like bounce things off of each other. And Guardian is on a different part of the planet, So I'm in Arkansas, the U.S., and Guardian is in Transylvania. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I live in Eastern Europe.
And so to compare these ascension symptoms to and finding out that Guardian and I are having the identical experiences, yet we're on completely different like continents, of a completely different place in the planet. It's just really useful. So what I'm doing here is encouraging anyone who is here to also chat with each other, connect with one another. That this is so helpful. So there's a couple of more comments here too that I want to bring up. A lot of people are relating to this sleep. So, I clicked. I already had it open. Um, Lucia said, I haven't been able to sleep for about 3 days, and I'm extremely tired in the morning as well. And there's another. She says here too. My youngest daughter has been getting up all night long, about every 2 hour or two, just the past few days. I could say for me, this sleep stuff has been disrupted for a decade at the very minimum, a long time. Though the past few days has been really pronounced for me. I've been more tired, like I've been more inclined to want to sleep, but just I'm not doing it. So, um, I can tell you that we are getting a lot of awesome activations during this time. And so this kind of feels like a segue, because a lot of this stuff that's happening um, has to do with interactions and guidances and things that are happening in this slumber place, in this place we think is sleep. It's more like astral. And so, connecting to these energies that are coming in conversation sometimes can help, and oh, something's wrong with I'm delayed, and every time I try to click something, I click the other one. I'll read Heather real quick. I feel it's a collective dark night of the soul. Deeper layers of anger and rage arises from past abuse. I can definitely echo this, but I'll give this one to you for now if you'd like, Guardian. What's your interpretation or experience with that?
Yeah, with the sleep stuff, for
Yeah.
example. Yeah. So if people are like newly awakened, or if you've been around and like paying attention, like how we work energetically and also physically, then many of us already know that when we go to sleep at night, a lot of stuff happens. So in some cases, we can be even more active energetically and mentally during the sleep hours, because like when we are in our waking consciousness, we're far more focused on the physical aspect of reality, and that's just like a very narrow spectrum of what actually exists. And during our days, I think like to 90% maybe, our logical ego mind is engaged with us, and like we're working through that basically. Even if you're a very spiritual person, like we have our ego mind and we use it to navigate this reality, which is kind of a limited way of seeing things, but that's how we function right now. And whenever you like maybe just go into like a daydreaming phase, or just like lay down to relax and just like start to like let go of the control, and you just many times it can happen that like weird imagery comes in, or like information comes in, and you just start to become like aware of a lot more stuff that was like around you. And when we go to sleep, we basically turn off the logical problem solving mind, and a lot more stuff can happen. And I
Right.
think like most of it we don't even remember of what is actually happening or what we are doing. When it's something important, we usually remember or like retain impressions of what happened, or some kind of like outline of like what happened this night. But in many cases, we don't really remember. And
Right.
sometimes it's for the better, I guess. But that can also be an aspect of why you wake up so tired in the morning, because you were freaking busy all night long, and
Right.
like your mind needs to like turn off and rest at least for 8 hours in order to like function properly and to like regenerate. And if you even don't rest during the rest period in the night cycle, then of course it's going to build up after some time.
Right. I would say my average of sleep, consecutive sleep, is about 2 to 4 hours. I don't tend to sleep any longer than that. I'll get up every 2 hours typically. It's been that way since um, 2007, actually. And uh, and then I'll be up for an hour and then back to sleep about another hour and a half, 2 hours. And that's just kind of when I sleep for 4 hours straight, I'm really excited. And the reason I bring this up is that the night before last, I think I slept for 8 hours. I did. I was so surprised, and like what, and I woke up tired still. Like even I could have stayed in bed longer, and it was definitely a noticeable experience when it happened. Like it was really. Chocolate Marie's here. I love you. I want to say hi to her really quick. I miss her. She's my sister. Um, the when I'm in the sleep state, this interaction, I always find myself having conversation, and there's always energies there that you can count them as they feel kind of like parents, like they're wise counsel of some kind. Um, and I think that the reason that I wake up when I do as often as I do is when it happens, it's a peak moment that I'm meant to recall. Like you said, recollection of these things are often really difficult. And so because I asked, I was annoyed by it and I asked, and the answer I got back was waking abruptly assist me to have more precise and accurate recollection of the interactions that are occurring. And so it didn't help feeling tired, but now I know why. um, to add to that is that when I awake in this way, you can continue the conversation with your more logical mind and having these, asking questions and stuff, or you can do it before you go to sleep. I find that this bleeds it into these conversations and these interactions into a more waking state so we can recall it, so there's a couple of cool tips that we can do as well if you really are just I need to get some sleep. Using this energetic uh, shielding is what some people call it, um, where you just let the light orb envelop you, come from the center and come out of you and envelop you. And this clearing your energy is a really good way to at least go to sleep. Because a lot of times we have all this staticky energy around us, on us, that is disruptive to restful state.
Yeah, like just as we talk about it in each event, like energy hygiene and making
Right.
sure that you're always shielded and protected is like crucial on a day-to-day basis, because like
Yeah.
we're exposed to so many things every day and night as well, that yeah, like even with proper energy maintenance and being shielded, like if something's big is happening energetically, like planet wise, even that way can be difficult to sleep. But if you like have on top of all of that all your other disturbances, then it's even more difficult to have a good night's sleep. So do
Yeah,
your energy maintenance.
definitely, definitely. And calling in the protective energies that you rely on. Everyone has different people, different, you know, Archangel Michael is a very popular one. Um, though that there's a lot of individuals and energies out there that are ready to assist us and to serve in this way and happily, you know, um I want to mention what April said here too, because she's right on point. The zero motivation to do anything. Um, I found this being amplified starting on the 27th when Thoth and Divine Masculine met, and their Mercury is known as Thoth, um, and Mars did their conjunction, and the message of that was that it was going to be wobbly. The Divine Masculine energy was going to be like like this, like off center for a bit, and as a result, um, um, there was a lot of inaction in the way that outward inaction. And so there was a lot of lack of motivation. I could say that I've started a lot of projects that I haven't even done anything further on them, you know, and this based on the messaging that I was given. Tomorrow when we have this other conjunction, it's kind of stabilized, because then the divine masculine and divine feminine then unite. So I can resonate with that. So I was happy that someone said something about that.
Yeah, like I also do the same stuff. I'm working on so many stuff at the same time. I want to do this, but that as well. And on top of that, I have all the regular things in my life too. And not
Right.
much energy to go around. But I don't know, like I still have this drive to complete all of these things for some reason. But yeah.
And you haven't gotten very far in completion.
Strangely, I did. Like
Oh,
things are going pretty well, even though like just as April said that how did she? I don't. Yeah, zero motivation to do anything for months. Like that kind of has been December and January for me, but
mm.
still I'm pushing through pushing through the limitations of our mundane lives.
I wonder if that's because you're a Taurus, because only the Taurus that I've talked to have been actually getting anything done.
Not
I don't
sure.
know. Good for you.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, literally,
yeah,
I've
like we are
started.
very stubborn, so we are stubborn creatures. Like
Well,
I'm going to do
congratulations.
stuff no matter what.
Yeah, I haven't. I really haven't, and I have all this stuff coming up, and I've just been like not. Um, I would say that I'm in download mode so often right now that I just feel incapacitated. I'm getting so much coming in all the time, you know. And Jacques and Marie says something that I kind of felt happened was, do you feel like something specific happened to the energies coming in on the eve of the 19th? I did. I 100% felt that. I don't know what it was, but the way that I interact with what in others and being in the life that I'm in, everything just shifted, and it's been not unpleasant, but surely different, you know, since then. Um, the that was really when I started to get so tired too. And man, the funky energy, I'm tired, but I feel like I need to move a lot more than normal. Like I need to relocate and um it's strange. But did you notice anything during this time?
Yeah, like I think that's kind of what we addressed. That kind of started after the weekend. Something shifted or something. That's when I started to notice this. I wouldn't say like restlessness, but like my mind is like always active and like doing stuff, even though like when I know that hey, I should be resting right now, and it just doesn't work. But yeah, but
Right.
I guess it will subside, like probably with the new moon, full moon. I hope it won't last until the new moon, but usually like things start to like build up towards these two lunar cycles usually, or like the
Mhm.
peaks of it usually happens. And we're also, I think it happens on Saturday, So like in like 2 days, we can like start to feel this kind of energy like building up, maybe even more. Not sure. I hope not.
Yeah. Well, and I would say too that this energy for tomorrow is also like in tandem with it. So we're having an amplified experience of all the things that are coming through. And man, I'm really having a throat activation thing going on. It wasn't happening until I got on the computer. But this um portal energy, I've found, looking back, at first I used to always say it was March. Every March I have something big happen, and I do, and everyone does. However, looking back, I just kind of noticed some things that typically the action or the new thing always started on the 22nd, and it was the February 22nd window. In fact, I resolved to do YouTube that day, and I didn't start it until the beginning of March. Also, just these kinds of things. And so I always find that the 22nd is something that's an activating window, but it doesn't, whenever we're being activated, it doesn't always feel the most pleasant right in the moment. So we have all of it happening all at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but in like in general, this whole, I mean, if you're living in the northern hemisphere, that is, like always, this transition from winter to summer can be a bit difficult. Like our bodies are also readjusting. I also notice that that's when usually like elderly people tend to like pass away because like their bodies are having difficulty shifting. And yeah, like it's draining on our bodies too. So
Yeah.
need to take care
Yes.
of ourselves.
And how do we do that? How do we take care of, like, a lot of times people think um to address their body first or only, like, and perhaps that's definitely important to focus on physical health.
Yeah.
Um though spiritual health is in tandem, goes in tandem with this. And so um like, I would say, what happened with me was, before I even thought to myself, "I'm going to try meditation," because I was that person that's like, "I'm not gonna sit there and, like, what, am I supposed to just make all the thoughts disappear? Does anyone know what it's like in here?" You know, like, um, and so the first thing I really saw myself doing was I was changing the way that I ate, the types of foods that I ate. I started to listen to my body a little bit, and after I started to shift, because I mean, I was a Mountain Dew, hamburgers kind of person, at that time. And I mean, literally did not like water. I thought water was gross, you know. Um, and then as soon as I started to change my diet a little bit, um, that was when I started to more like I would spend time in gardening, and I would notice that I would be in peace. Or when I was drawing, I would be in peace, and I would be meditating while moving, basically. Um, and it kind of evolved from there. And I would say that my first real meditation where I did it, where I'm like, I'm going to do this, was with you, Guardian. When you did a group meditation and we all joined in on, and I was like, I did it. I stayed focused the whole time.
Yeah, like a year later, you did your own guided meditations. You were leading a group, so
I know.
that
It's
is
weird.
badass. Yeah, I remember you being very nervous about it.
Yeah. I still won't do it live. It's only on unrecorded groups still. So what is it that what are the tips of the trade? Like, what would be the best if someone has never meditated before, and coming from the lifestyle that I came from, most people are, what would you tell this person to first start the process of exploring meditation?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but kind of first, I will like address this whole period of like transitioning from winter to spring
Yes.
and like shifting of the body. But yeah, like the meditation can also like tie into that as well. But yeah, like in short, I haven't found a secret key to like properly navigating this whole winter spring transitional thing. I kind of found that it's like each year is like very unique, and we have like different needs. There are like different circumstances at play, but in general, like take as much care of your physical body as you can, and just like be gentle with it, and like rest whenever you feel that you need to rest. It's like super helpful. I found like that's the best thing that you can do. Like your body will let you know that, hey, like take it easy a bit, and like you need to rest right now. But also like taking care of your diet is like super important, of like making sure that you eat enough protein and veggies, not just carbohydrates and stuff like that. That gives you a boost for a very short period of time, and then your blood sugar crashes and you have less energy than you began with. So like
Right.
making sure that you balance your diet is like super important. And there's a very good reason why in the springtime there are like so many green veggies in early spring and also in later spring. Is because like nature is like giving you the opportunity to like cleanse and like refresh your system. Like all those fresh green veggies are awesome to like clear out all the dense and unpleasant stuff from your body that may have accumulated during the winter period. And it also like gives you a fresh like reset and like reboots your system. So take advantage of that as much as possible. It really, really helps.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, like spend time outside if you can. Like for example, I haven't tried this so far, but in this period of like December, January, and also like now in February, usually, by the way, like we live in a house and we have a pretty big yard around our house with
Mhm.
our own garden and all that, and we need to take care of a lot of things, usually during the growing season. And excuse me. And so far, like my mentality was like, oh, it's winter. You can't really do anything outside because it's cold and it's bad weather. Are there like chickens in the background, or what am I hearing?
Can you hear them? They're my window is right behind the screen, and there's a porch out there, and all of them have decided they need to be in my window. They're
Okay,
all right here.
okay. I was like, am I hallucinating or just imagining?
It's a warm 77 degrees Fahrenheit right here, so it's like summer for us right now.
Yeah, like here it's very unusually warm as well, which is great because I don't have to make fire as much. So that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what I wanted to say is that usually we have this, I don't know, this thought that, hey, like it's winter, you can't really do anything outside. And right now, like whenever it was acceptable, like the conditions outside, like it was not a storm or ultra cold, then I did stuff around the house. Like I cleaned out our yard or our garden shed and like did stuff in the garden, like preparing for the next growing season. And it was
Mhm.
super good. Like it was so refreshing to like do something outside, to have some kind of physical activity outside. And yeah, like then let's go into the meditation phase too.
Well, just to add one thing really quickly, the
Hmm.
physical activity, and I love that Heather said this, I'm attempting ballet. Um, dance. Dance, I'm finding to be the easiest, the most accessible means of physical activity. It's one of those things that just happens naturally, and it's a place of play. Are you frozen? Oh, you're just really focused. um,
I'm
you're
moving.
good. And so dance, uh, hey, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. I got in the habit of before, when I was living in the apartments, I would go to neighbors' houses who were not as mobile as others, and we would dance laying down or sitting, together. And what I'm showing is whatever your ability range, you can still do this. You know, dancing while sitting is really common and fun, and that starts your activity. If you can't get up, and moving the or qigong, yoga. There's a lot of other practices. I find that dancing is it accommodates every ability level. And so um, you'll notice that after you move around a little bit and just kind of wiggle it out, that you feel better. And then you're also more able to rest. And so that's just to add that. And I know we mentioned it earlier that just, I love that dancing, this one I find to be the most useful.
Yeah, definitely. And also, Jacaranda Marie said that alkalizing the physical body can help as well. No sugar, meat, alcohol, and drinking charged water. Yeah, like
Nice.
cutting out all the sugary stuff. I mean, not all of it, but just like reducing it to like a reasonable amount and like getting out the alcohol, or also like reducing that to a reasonable amount can like really help with balancing out your body. And yeah, like physical activity is super important because like also in nature, like everything is always moving, it's changing and shifting. And we will also like not built to be sitting
Mhm.
still or being constantly still. Like we were built to like be on the move and do stuff. And you will find like the more you like tune into that, the more balanced you will be, and like the more you will find that your body is like functioning in a more balanced way. Because like also with like detoxing, like movement, exercise is like super important for that too. Because like you're moving your body and like it's functioning at a higher rate, and it's like pushing out all the stuck energies, and like all the toxins are like being flushed out of your system. So that's
Mhm.
also why moving is so important. And also like tying into the meditation stuff loosely here and there is that, yeah, like I tried yoga during this period of the winter and spring season, and I found it really helped with that like spring tiredness thing that happens sadly. It really helped with that. And also like if you have difficulty like meditating or just sitting still, or just as high vibrations you can't imagine yourself sitting still for like 3 minutes, then yeah, like try. I did Tai Chi and also like Qigong or yoga, and that's also a type of meditation and movement or something.
Mhm.
And it also balances out your physical body with the energetic, which is also a super big bonus, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. This, um, and allowing yourself to be in motion, this is something that I found to be useful. Like the rule of the was always this is how you sit. You're in lotus position, you do certain this and that, and you don't move. And I would find that my focus would be interrupted by lack of movement. And so sometimes I'll sway, and like I'll go back and watch myself sometimes after a session, and I'll see that I'm moving. I don't even notice I'm going like this. I'm rocking, and there's usually a direction that I'm going. Um, and this is it works. It's acceptable. Whatever it is that you're meant to do, you'll do naturally. If it's very hard, then there's just something missing in the recipe. Is kind of what I understood by it.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you also mentioned on Skype that we should talk about mudras.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like I'm not the ultimate guide to mudras, so but I still use them. So, but yeah, like it just reminded me of the whole topic when you said that, like your body will do the thing that it needs to do,
Right.
and like I don't know if any of you have been like meditating for some time, maybe you have noticed you like having the need to put your hands in a specific way. Maybe that can totally happen too,
Mhm.
and it happened with me as well. Then I took a look of like what mudra does what, because like all of them, basically our bodies are, I don't know how to describe it, but I would say like biological mechanisms. Like we have circuits like energetic and electric circuits in our bodies, and like by connecting different things together in a specific way, that's where also like postures come in with yoga. Like there's a specific circuit that you activate or like close in or focus a specific aspect on how your body functions. for example, like this one, like combining or like putting together all your fingers this way. Like you can rest it in your on your lap or just hold it up. It doesn't really matter. But like this, for example, like assists you in like focusing your intent and also your mental activities. And you can like also like see like big CEOs like giving speeches and like they have their hands like this,
Mhm.
like unknowingly they're like using that
Right.
that mudra. And then you have like relaxation ones. Like if you like want to put it on your lap, I'm not sure like how to show it. Like this is one of the relaxation mudras. Where you can do it like this, but I find it like it's difficult to hold it like this, like your
Right.
index fingers like this, and this is just super relaxing to just do it like this. And also like the classical one that
Yeah.
like this is also a relaxation mudra. I don't
What is
use
it?
it, but
That makes a lot of sense because that's always the one that when they're in relaxation, they have their, and usually it's on the knees. They're in lotus
I'll
position.
just put it on your lap basically and just like don't think about it. And if you like your fingers shift a bit or something, then it's okay. Like maybe it's not important anymore.
Right. I love that we're talking about that. I see the energy when I do this, and it circles like it comes through my shoulder, out my arm, through my hand, into the other hand, and cycles back around, and it just zoo, 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 zoo. And when we're doing these types of things, and sometimes when you direct the fingers to a place, then you're kind of like sharing the energy that way. Um, so when you're doing it, when you're assisting someone in doing healing, do you notice that you're pointing your fingers toward them? I'm just curious. I wonder if that's something that others do too.
Not really. Like when I do like a healing or meditation or like channel, like my body, I kind of remain very much still. I usually have my hands on my lap. I usually, if I channel, I usually have them like this, but just like resting on my lap, usually.
It's, I usually do it
But
like this, and then I'll
yeah,
find that I'll become aware. I turn off my mic,
whoops.
and I'll become aware, and I'm doing this, and like I'm channeling it through this triangle space like this, and I'm not doing it on.
Mhm.
I'm not thinking I'm doing it. I'm not. I just notice. Oh, this is what I'm doing now. That's very fascinating.
Yeah, I also had in the beginning, I'm not sure if this is like a thing. Like, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, yeah. I had this like when I was doing the violet flame meditations in the beginning, like for some reason, this is why how I hold my hands. So
Interesting.
I think I've seen it somewhere. It's called like the fire mudra or something.
Cool.
So I
Wow.
haven't really used it for quite some time.
There's a lot of different ones, and you can look them up on the internet
Oh
and
yeah,
any
there are a lot of
attention.
them.
Yeah, and I have experimented a little bit. For the most part, I just do what I'm meant to do in the moment. Um, and same with what you're doing with your body, in the moment. Like sometimes it's more correct for me to have both of my feet firmly planted on the ground in front of me, and sometimes often like I'm sitting in a chair, but I'll still be sitting in a lotus position. I'll fold my legs, and when I'm doing a healing, often that's also, and the same as when we're doing this, we're channeling the energy through, and like this, it's like stays with you, zoom, zoom, zoom. It does the same thing through your legs. I find so sometimes I'll even put my palm, the soles of my feet together and be sitting in almost a lotus that way. And I'll notice the energy. Zoom, zoom, zoom. It's really cool. It's neat.
Yeah, like I don't know, like what types of mudras do you use? Or just those?
Yeah, I've only just barely started to like think about it because I just
Yeah,
do it
like
naturally.
there are like a lot of them. Like I remember using this was one of my astral experiences like a few years ago when there were like a lot of nasty energies around me. Like I used this one.
Oh, yeah.
People know from rock and roll stuff, but basically that's a mudra too. So it's this basically. It's you're
Right.
channeling negative energies, and it can work both ways too. So you can like send negativity towards someone, or like I used it to like gather and like focus all that chaotic energy around me in like one spot, so it's not all over the house.
Uh,
But yeah, I think I use this. This is for like the healing the root chakra.
okay.
Like when you're doing such types of meditations, it's really good, I think. I
Huh,
also like how it looks, but that's just me.
that's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, there's so many different things that we can do that to amplify our experience. Oh, a tip before I forget to say it, because it's come up a couple times and I didn't want to interrupt, is that um, one of the things that I learned that was really useful for me in practicing any kind of meditation was I used to think that that meant that I would just not have thoughts. I would somehow just make all of the thoughts stop. And in some ways it does over time. Um, Though I found what it really looks like inside your brain, basically, like a very populated pedestrian street, and there's all these people walking by, and those are the thoughts. We can choose to grab the stranger and talk to that individual, or we can let them pass, and let them pass. Just let them move past. They don't need to be grabbed onto. We don't need to give any attention and focus into these thoughts as they come in. And after a time, it's surprising because the streets get quieter and quieter. We have less and less of these pedestrians trying to interrupt the moment, and it becomes, a second nature, or perhaps it's a first nature.
Yeah, because like you're not putting energy into it, and it just like fades into the background because you're not putting any energy into it, and it just fades away. That's how it
Yeah,
works.
yeah, exactly. And length of time. Typically, it's best if you can to meditate daily. Um, if it's possible to do more than 5 minutes, that's encouraged. However, I find that at least 5 minutes a day is at least enough to clear the energy, to find your center again. Because we mentioned earlier, Guardian said, energetic hygiene, I think was the word that you used. This hygiene is the meditation's part of that. To go into this place of meditation, to go back to your center, and to expand this energy, we're knocking off all of this staticky noise, this energy that's just not in um, balance for you at this time. And so it's really helpful if you can do it daily. And again, outside is even better, especially if you can put your feet in soil or the grass or something like
Yeah,
that.
or just like spend some time outside, like feel the air, like hopefully you have some sunshine. Or also just like feel the energies of the storm, which is awesome. If anyone is into that. And yeah, like try to do stuff outside, like connect with nature. Like you don't have to be like bare feet on the ground, although it really helps. But just like finding some type of connection with the divine feminine energies would be really good. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Lucia said, the Bashar hands. Yes, exactly.
I love that. Yeah. Um, You can meditate in the bath, you can meditate while you're busy doing things as well. There's um I find that when I'm preparing myself to do, like, I mean it kind of healing, or I need to clear this energy. I always sit in lotus position. I always line up my back. I remember to roll my shoulders, and straighten up. What you're doing is you're lining up all your chakras, and so it can move through more efficiently and do what it needs to do to assist you, and you have a lot of really cool energy centers in your body. And this kind of segues towards this self healing, is that what we're doing in this is we start as above, so below, addressing the energy inside. So the example of QHHT. Oh, hey, you're QHHT. Do you want to explain what this is a little bit? I'm not very great at explaining this.
Yeah, okay. Like, yeah, like I'm a QHHD practitioner, but I haven't had a client since the lockdown. So that kind of stuff, though. that's when I moved to YouTube and like reached out to people all across the world. So yeah, like in general, like QHHD, if anyone is familiar with Dolores Cannon's work, like she brought forward a lot of interesting information, like helpful information if you're on your awakening journey or you're interested in like metaphysical subjects. But in short, like she passed away, I think in 2014. She
Mhm.
was a hypnotherapist and she developed this technique across decades with like working with thousands of clients across the world, which is called the quantum healing hypnosis therapy, or just QHHT for short. And it's basically a guided meditation, in my humble opinion. Like the first time when I had the QHHT, like I read everything about it. I listened to all the conferences that she made, and I was like so prepared to have my first QHHT session. I was having these great expectations, and while it was happening, I was like, "Hey, like this is a guided meditation," and I was like, "Hey, like I'm like not in a deep state of trance. Like I'm doing something wrong." And basically it was working very well, but like different people, depending on like who you are, you react differently to that whole trance state. Like some people don't even recollect anything, they feel like they have fallen asleep,
Yeah.
but I was like super awake, like I was like even more hyper aware than I'm in my normal way of functioning. So I thought I was doing something wrong, and it turned out I wasn't. I'm just the type who was like very much like tuned into those states of mind, I guess, because like
Mhm.
I learned across the years like to maneuver with my altered states of consciousness. I can like also bring myself into the that QHHD state alone. I can regress myself, although you shouldn't do that at home. Like don't do that.
Don't
Yeah,
kids, don't do this at
don't
home.
do that at home. Like I can regress myself and I'm completely comfortable with it because I know that I can bring myself out of it. But
Mm,
probably if you're not experienced with maneuvering in altered states of consciousness, you will probably not be able to bring yourself out of that like deep state of trance. Because like also like during the regressions, I always felt that like I was very present, and if I wanted to, I could stop it. Like I could bring myself out of that if I wanted to, but I didn't. So yeah, and yeah, don't experiment with these things at
right.
home, and also don't do Skype calls with practitioners. You shouldn't do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
over the
yeah,
internet.
like when you have someone in a deep state of trance, like you need to be there to like monitor them, what they're doing also physically, and you can't really do that through a call. And also if
Right,
for some reason like the call gets interrupted, like your signal drops or something, that poor person is going to be there alone in a deep state of
right,
trance, and they will need quite some time to like come back. They will most likely fall asleep. Best case
right,
scenario.
right, right, and you'll be okay,
Yeah,
eventually,
like
you'll wake up.
it's not going to hurt you, but like you like lose the chance of actually doing something with that state.
Right,
And also like it probably will be difficult to come back. I also know that during meditations, like when the beginning when we did our guided meditations, like I brought people back a bit too abruptly or quickly towards the end. I know like some people complained about that. For me, it was easy because I can like maneuver quickly with that stuff, but I didn't take into consideration, hey, like other people were like so deeply into trance that they like need more time to like come back to full
yeah,
awareness. So like I extended the reintegration part for quite a bit for our meditations, and it works. But yeah, like I think we went off topic a bit, but the
well,
main
that helps because
yeah, like the QHH state is like the important thing about it is that you like work with your higher self. Like the QHHD says, it's your subconscious that you're working with, but basically it's your higher self that is like conducting the entire session, and like you will see, experience things that are relevant to you at that time. And most of the times it will not make any sense in the beginning, but as like the session like evolves and you see more and more and you get more information, then it will like put together an entire picture for you. Like, why did it bring up those stuff? Like, why was that important to you right now? And it's really good because the whole thing is like I wouldn't say like conducted because it's conducted by the practitioner, but it's like I know like controlled by your subconscious, by your higher mind. So you're only going to receive what you're ready to receive. And it's also
Right.
going to like put things together for you. And also like healing can happen, or like transforming old traumas, like whatever you've been struggling with, you can like resolve it very quickly because you have the ego mind like put aside, and you can just work directly with those energies that are like causing you those issues, for example.
Right. And in this example, I love this practice because I've actually never done it. Every time that I've tried to, there's been something that's stopped my meeting to occur. However, um, the concept of it is just brilliant. We go through and we interact and find out what parts of our past life experiences are affecting our physical health today, our emotional bodies and physical body in this incarnation. And in many cases, we'll find that there's a fly, that this one fly comes around when I'm doing a show. We'll find that these issues that we're having here, we're having them because they were meant to be amplified, so we will know to heal it. This is also true for mostly. I mean, the vast majority of this has to do with emotional, you call emotional trauma, and um, exploring things in this way, we're able to see why, and we can ask ourselves why we're having these different issues, and what to do, how to assist this. And so it's a very it's all encompassing, in this healing methodology that I just find so beautiful that it happened. And what's interesting is it turns out Dolores Cannon died um, when my daughter was not even 2 months old. And we actually live right next to her estate, or right near to her estate
Yeah,
here.
what
And
synchronicities.
yeah. There's a question really I wanted to highlight here because we mentioned barefoot. I'm in Canada. How do you go barefoot if freezing cold for months and snow outside? Bringing soil into the home. I did this for years, and just setting my feet on the soil. You don't need a big giant pot, um, just enough to put your feet in on. You can also play with it with your hands. I find this to be more enjoyable, especially if you get like little like toy cars and tractors and stuff. You can be in your childhood place. What happens here, connecting to the soil, you can then go through the ionization process. Our body collects positively charged ions, which is disruptive for us. It sounds like static, like it's really not cool feeling. And when we connect to the soil, Gaia's energy pulls these positively charged ions down into her to transmute, and then we are left with the negatively charged ones, which is a peaceful place for us to be. Um, Another point to be made really quickly before I move from this topic is that um, we're getting when we get solar flares, there's also a lot of positively charged ions in the air. And so if you don't live near to a ocean or some natural salt water body, having bowls of salt water around you in your environment, in your home, really helps. It helps to get some of that static to kind of be neutralized. So it's called earthing if you want to look it up. It's something that I started doing before I found out there was a name for it. Um, what else can you do to connect in this way?
To connect to Mother Earth.
You were in the city for a while. What did
Yeah,
you? I
yeah, like it's not easy. Like go outside the city. I don't know. Yeah, like it became more difficult and difficult with each passing year. like living in a big city. So thank God we moved out after
Yeah.
like 9 years living in such an environment. But yeah, like sometimes the only thing that I could connect to it was like the sky or the element of air or like the wind. Like I remember I really enjoy like summer storms. And the only thing that I had in certain periods of time is that whenever like there was like a storm brewing, or I really enjoyed like being outside and just like soaking up all that raw energy like building up before the storm.
Yeah.
And I found out that like shamans do that stuff too, or like they're able to like tune into the forces of nature or stuff like that. But it was like really like recharging to like I don't like to synchronize my physical body with the building up energies of the sky and the earth, because like storm is basically like tension building up between the positive and negative poles basically, and just like
Yeah.
tuning into that and like drawing upon that energy and like feeling it in your body was awesome. But yeah, in general it's very difficult in the city because like it's so not all cities, but I was in Oslo and I was shocked of like what is there. Like where I lived is not a capital, but it's like a pretty big city here in Transylvania with a lot of people, and you have to like travel for like half 1.5 hours to like just to get out of the city. And
Wow.
I think it was last year's May we went to Oslo for a week, and I was absolutely shocked of what I found in Oslo. So if anyone who hasn't been there, like Oslo is the capital of Norwegia. Norwegia, I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
pronounced it correctly. Norge. I've been there for like a week, and I was like prepared for this like assault on my senses, because like I'm very much used to now like living in a very rural, is that the
That's
proper
correct.
word? Yeah, like I live on a hilltop out in nature. So I'm very much used to like having calm and clear nature energies around me.
Yeah.
And I was like preparing subconscious, like, oh my God, like how I'm going to like last for a week there. And I was absolutely shocked of what I found in Oslo. Like it's a capital of a freaking country, and it was like so calm, like silent. You can like hear birds singing in the main center of the city. There were like a lot of big trees. Everyone was like so chill, like you had the ocean there, and just everything was so calm and quiet. And I was like, oh my God, like we don't have cities like that here. I was just like sitting on a bench outside, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's so pleasant here." Yeah, like a source mate. I'm in Oslo. Well, hello to you.
Oh,
Yeah, and our hotel. We stayed in a hotel next to the royal palace, which is very in the center of the biggest. I think it's called the Akersbrygge or something. Like that's the main part of the capital, basically. And it was so quiet and peaceful, and I slept so well. So
wow.
I was shocked of like how calm and peaceful everything there was.
That's awesome.
And yeah, like also after like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., there weren't people outside. Like, there weren't cars driving around. You could barely see a person like being outside. So it was everyone was just like home, going to bed, like being
Wow.
very calm and gentle.
That's awesome. And it wasn't like that when you were there before, but it is now.
Oh, that was the first time I was there, but I was just like shocked that like this is a capital of a country. And it's like
Yeah.
so calm and like so like nature. It has like yeah, like it. I'm not sure if it's because of the ocean, because it's
Right.
in a fjord and it's like connected to the ocean. I'm not sure if it's that the reason, but yeah, like it's an amazing place to be. And I also read about that. It's Oslo is like one of the main capitals that are like the most human friendly, like the most livable places on the earth. And it's also one of the most expensive places on the earth. So
Wow. Wow. Well, that's really cool. You brought up something really useful to consider too, is that you said you were preparing yourself before you went to this denser populated place. Um,
Yeah.
and obviously, though you may not have needed to, what did you methodology did you use? Like, how did you prepare yourself to? Um,
Yeah, like just with basic shielding, I guess, like, and also like cleansing yourself while you're there, because like you're going to meet a lot of people, like even if you don't interact with them, but like our fields merge, and like we're basically always like, wow, I really like the comment that you like to share out.
mhm,
Okay. Yeah, like even if you like don't interact with people, but we're like constantly in each other's fields, like we're always sending out energy and everyone else is doing the same stuff. Like some people have more subtle energies, more subdued, like some people can be like bombastic and like very
yeah.
upfront. And basically if you're surrounded with a lot of people or you work in a crowded place, then you can like interpret this, you can like imagine like all these people like constantly like sending out like radio signals
Hmm.
in all directions. It can build up to this like staticky, noisy environment basically. And you can like put on top of that like electromagnetic frequencies too, like all the electronics are also emitting a lot of static, and it's just like building on top of each other.
Right.
And it can be very draining after a time, especially if you like spend too much time in such places.
Right. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I would equate that to interacting with my family. It's the same kind of thing that we want to do. Is that whatever it is in the contrary energy that if you're going to engage, prepare yourself. And it's not, oh no, something's gonna happen. It's just like let yourself, prepare. And it's the same concept of um, we tend to fast a few days before some type of spiritual um, evolution or upgrade, that we naturally do this. A lot of people are doing it now. I actually have um, noticed a lot of people talking about appetite, and these types of things are known. And so just preparing yourself and preparing your energy for this place. I connected with what you had said, Guardian. However long ago it was, you were in Transylvania, and you hadn't been able to get into nature for some time, and told me the wind. You connected to the wind, and it. I remember feeling sad in my heart for you when you told me that. I was like, oh, that has to.
That's
Um,
all I had.
yeah. Then I found myself in Houston, and though there is grass, there's trees, there's Houston is of 3 million people almost. And I was right in the center of it. Like I was right in the middle of it. And um, anyway, we were there during a time where there was a lot of wind. And your guidance of connect with the wind really assisted me during that time. That was very dense. And being there for the length of time that I was, I am impressed that I made it through. As for the length of time, I was about to bolt too. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not staying in this place. And connecting with the wind really helped. Um, we can also bring um, vegetation into our home, or, if you have like a porch or a patio or a little spot, I find that just touching the leaves of a plant, may not be as strong of an experience if you're in the forest. It's definitely something that will help us through it, and preparing our energy or clearing our energy and getting back to your 0 point centered place. Um, there's something that I'd like to highlight here, because it's kind of come up a few times lately, is what Lucia has said. She's got two comments. This fly keeps landing on. I really have to start trusting myself again. I've been overthinking everything, and I feel as though it has put me back into a place of fear. I'm just realizing this. I blindly followed and trusted teachers in the beginning of my journey years ago, and I'm still recovering from it. This is a really useful thing to highlight, because um, we are all channels. We are all connected to the divine. We all get these messages regularly. This trusting self element is definitely, I have found that was my deficiency, is I had conditioning, like many of us have had, to not trust myself, thinking that I'm crazy, or some type of off centered and unbalanced in some way. And as a result, it took a while for me to trust my inner knowing that's coming through. And how did that come to pass for me was I talking listening to Guardian, actually, because he was saying the things that I was going through or seeing, and I didn't tell him. And I heard somebody else talking about exactly what I experienced, um, in the same details, that gave me validation. That was my first moment of really trusting my experience, and I trusted it, but I didn't trust my guidance that would come through. Um, and also, I just wanted to add one more thing, and I'm sure Guardian has something to input here. Is that excuse me, every person that presents themselves as a teacher definitely have something to teach us. However, using your own discernment and being able to decipher what is in alignment with you and what isn't is um, the most empowering thing to learn. I find that for at the beginning, I thought if someone said something that that didn't resonate with me, then that person was not an aligned teacher or channeler. And in fact, what it is that for me, I need to, it assists me to understand that all who present information, there are pieces for me to take and things for me to leave. If it doesn't resonate with me, leave that part, and then take what does and what assists me in this window of time. You are powerful. We are all powerful. We're all masters. There are no masters really when it comes down to it, because that implies heightened ability above others. It's simply um, practice. How long have you been doing it? So this is just a really useful tip. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, like I think that ties into the inner guidance stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, like the problem with it, I mean, it's not a problem, but the disability that we have when we get born here is that we are conditioned since birth of like how inept we are at basically everything. And like that we shouldn't trust our gut feeling and always think logically. I mean, you should do that too, of course, but to basically like distrust ourselves and like labeling ourselves as being like incapable of making good decisions or like tapping into a higher source that is like giving us valid information. And also we have the other condition or program that is running, and I think like all of us have been like struggling with it to a certain point, that you like need approval of someone to like be who you are or to have those experiences, or just someone else to validate things for you because you don't trust yourself to know that what happened to you is real or what you're receiving is valid, for example. Or like the other aspect of it is that we always need some kind of outside authority figure, for example, maybe like a religious leader
Mhm.
or like a spiritual teacher or guru who is like far more advanced than we are to like tell us what we should think and do, because he's I don't know, like he's much higher than we are, and therefore we just have to like trust what he says because he knows what he's saying, and we don't know what he's saying and talking about, but we just have to trust because like that's part of the programming.
Right.
And like also some certain like religions and like I think also like cults or like things like that, like have this like unwritten rule that you like don't question what the teacher says. Like that's like the golden rule that you just accept how it is and deal with it. And like always question stuff and like have very good questions. And maybe they won't really like you for it, but also maybe that's not a good place for you to be then.
Right.
If they're like not open for discussions.
Right. And often these types of conversations assist people. Like I was that kid that was always in the principal's office, and it wasn't because I was doing anything naughty. It was simply I didn't agree, and they wanted me to say that 90 to 95% of my DNA was junk. And
Yep.
that's not true. And I knew that.
Like you're trash. Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on. Like, all logic, it needs to be thrown out the window to accept that, and now they're saying otherwise, even in the classroom setting, they're saying dormant DNA. Finally, um, so, um, though I find that this was in every area of my life. And the religion example, like you said, like the bishops, rabbis, ministers, whatever you call them, in whatever religion or religious group that you're in, there needed to be this intermediary to tell you what God thinks and what God wants you to do. When no, that's not actually true. You can feel inside. You always feel. There's always this place where it tells you, there's something that needs to be heard. It will come through. And what's more is sometimes, as the example of doing the YouTube channel, I was getting this, I was getting it, and then I was getting like very real messages, really loud ones. Um, and then those around me, commercials, ads on the billboards, random people. A lot of different directions was I getting the same message, and I'm bringing this up too because earlier on, often the easiest thing to trust is the synchronicities that come into your life. Where I just looked up and we had been on for 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds. I was like, whoa, bunch of ones.
Synchronicities, yes.
I just got done talking about that's right. I forgot what I was saying. Yes. And so we get these as validation from a variety of different directions. And one of the most common ones is these numbers and things like that. And after a while, we can learn to slowly trust ourselves, and having gotten that validation, I would say that more and more validation's becoming not as needed for me, though, I've been doing this for a couple of years where I've been talking to other people, and so if you're new, just allow yourself that, allow yourself to find others that are talking about the same things that you're going through. Um, and there's other methods too. People will use like the lean test, the tap test. They'll use the pendulum. You can ask yes or no kind of questions. These types of things are ways to kind of find validation for yourself, or to you can trust it a little bit more. However, at the end of the day, I still knew those messages were there. I still had them and I still believed them. I just didn't believe them enough to do something about it, you know. Um, and so I would say that my greatest difficulty wasn't so much the message, it was understanding what the message meant. And um, through talking with Guardian and listening to his insights and the things that he was going through at those moments, taught me to a new way of understanding what the messages are meant to be, because I was still trying to wrap my own end of the story paradigm around a whole different thing. Did that make sense? Did I make sense just now?
I think so, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, but I'm also having issues with the whole interpretation part.
Yeah.
I'm still learning that too, because like we're constantly receiving information, energies, and I don't doubt that it is accurate. But what I have issues with is like, how do we interpret that? Like, that I think that's where the problem comes in, because like we filter it to a certain extent, and we can also like color it and like distort it, and maybe that's not what actually came through, but you just like misinterpreted it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still figuring this stuff out too, of like, when is it correct? Like, is, I know, like maybe what I communicated to someone else correct, or what, maybe I received some information regarding someone, like, did I interpret that correctly or not?
Right. And also action. I would say that's the my lack of action, my inaction, was the biggest difficulty that I had because so as an example, I didn't know this. Somebody who was didn't have our best interest in mind put a stopper between my accelerator underneath my in my engine in my truck. And anyway, I didn't know this, but I started to get these messages, not, and they wouldn't stop. You need to change your windshield wiper fluid was the message. And I was like, but I just did, you know. And I even went and bought more fluid and I set it on the porch. Yet I didn't do anything about it. And this went on for days, like 3 or 4 days. And then finally, I was it was time to drive to Spokane, which was a 2-hour drive from where I lived, on a highway. And on the way there, I found I couldn't slow down. In fact, we kept going faster and faster. Long story short, we were okay in the end. There was some intervention that occurred. It was a really amazing. My little kiddo was in the car with me, and she was screaming, "This is my dream. We're gonna die." Oh my goodness. It was really a difficult experience. Anyway, if I had opened my hood and began to put this windshield wiper fluid in there, which Spirit kept telling me to do over and over and over again with this whole like impending doom sensation. There was like an impending doom. Very, if I had opened my hood, I would have seen it and I would have resolved the issue and it would never have been a difficulty. And so my guidance here is follow it too, even if it sounds silly, even if your windshield wiper is already full, you know, just I mean, there definitely is some silly messages that come, seemingly silly messages that come through that really assist us. Just trust.
Yeah, like I'm also having difficulty with these like signs of like just as you said with the put your windshield liquid in or something, and
Yeah.
like why, or just like or just go to that place, just go to the place. But okay, like why is there something going to happen there, or like why, or there's going to be something wrong or something going to happen where I'm here right now and I have to get out of here or something.
Yeah.
Like why?
Right.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
guess hopefully we will get better at like this type of communication in the future.
Right. And trusting yourself, trusting your inner knowing, allowing yourself to trust that and to act accordingly. I think that, since November or October, I really have gotten to where I've been practicing it with intention to just let myself fall and allow the universe to catch me. However, I'm not great at it. I'm just learning how to do it. And each time though that I let myself do it, um, that I've just gone with it and followed the guidance, that it's always ended up exactly the way that it would needed to for everybody involved. And it's just I couldn't have planned better. Which I actually planned this. We all planned this. We're all up there. We're our own. We are our own puppet masters. You know, we're the ones in the driver's seat here. So
Yeah, I also try to practice this more intentionally in the past few months, I think. And yeah, like some interesting synchronicities also happened of like, I don't know, like I was working or I was in my office, for example, and I just had this sensation to I have to go outside or something. I just have to go outside. I was like, okay, like I can go out and like check out what's happening. And I'm not sure like what it was exactly, but I know like someone arrived, like someone in our family arrived just at that time, and they like needed my help with something. So yeah,
yeah, and you just appear. Ah.
you know, like you know I was coming, or I was just thinking of you.
Yeah. And there's another one that someone mentioned here, Maria. This is another example of following this. These are another. It's another kind of code is animals. The totems of animals, and we don't often think about the housefly as being a totem. However, I got this question, so I did look it up. It's the importance of swift action and decision making, as well as the value of being nimble and responsive in our lives. So as these animals come in our lives, these energies come around. There is an underlining meaning. If you'd like to look them up, you can just look. The word totem, TOTEM, at the end of the name of the animal, and you'll find there's always a whole bunch of information that can assist you in the guidance of it, even something as simple as flies.
Yeah, like I had last summer a stag. I think it's called stag beetle,
Oh yeah.
like those big black ones that have like big horns.
Whoa.
And one of them, they're like very clunky creatures. They don't move very well. And also they don't fly very well. Like I'm not sure how they survive so much. But yeah, like one of them, like a very big one, like tried to like come up my stairs, and I like catched him with something. I mean, I think you can't really like get them with your fingers because like they were like like
Oh, right.
bite you with their horns. They're pretty big ones, and yeah, like I got him with like a I don't know, like some cloth or something, and I put him away amongst the trees and stuff like that, like so the dogs won't trample it or something. And the next day, the stag beetle came back again, but now he was like, I think he had like a broken leg or something, and we were like desperately like trying to come up my stairs and like falling on his back and with his broken leg, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I think like you were the one that like reminded me like, "Hey, like maybe it's a animal totem or something." And when I looked up the animal totem, then he didn't came back again. So I guess that was kind of the point, maybe.
Right. The message was delivered at that point.
Yeah,
And we'll find that to be true also, by the way. That's really a great example. Thank you for bringing that up. Is that, you know, if we don't, because I know that there's some people that at first get worried. What if I miss the message? What if I don't see it? Well, if you don't see it, don't worry. It's going to come back. And in fact, it comes back so much. It's kind of like that Harry Potter, the first movie of Harry Potter, where they needed to bring him his letter for Hogwarts. And at first there was just one letter, and then there was five letters, and then pretty soon the whole house was full of letters. You need to read this, and there the messages, if they are unseen or missed in some way, they come back. They come back in different ways, and they're persistent. So never any reason to be concerned about that.
yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Good.
like we also should end it soon, or at least I have to leave.
Yes,
So,
of course, definitely. Do you mind if we answer this question?
of course, uh,
Imagine one.
yeah, yeah, like I will read it then. So,
Okay.
I think you were at the last live event. Imagine one. Okay, so hello. I wanted to ask you about bright beams of light that I saw in the middle of the night. I felt like it might have been guides, Arcturians, showing me their presence. I don't know, like I cannot confirm or deny that, but I've been also seeing strange light anomaly stuff. And I think we also talked about this a few weeks ago of like almost like I don't know, like in your room at a certain spot, like almost like a burst of light, just like appearing, like something very subtle, but still something enough for you to like notice, and like being something that would normally like not happen. Like there is nothing physically there that would actually make that light happen. Basically, like I'm not sure what it is. I guess like it's in part like since we're like changing energetically collectively, and I think like also because if the earth changes, like the veil between realms is becoming thinner, and like we're also sensing more of what exists around us. And I guess this is just part of it.
Definitely. And I could add to that to say that sometimes I later on, after the message that I got from whatever it is I saw, was very useful in propelling me or compelling me to a certain place that I needed to be. Occasionally, I'll find out that it was a natural occurrence, or something that is a common occurrence in the area, but I still got the message I needed to get, you know, and the understanding that I needed to get. Some of the things that we explain in a logical way isn't actually explainable at all. We just find that this is the method that we do. You answered that very well. Thank you very much for that. These kinds of things happen a lot. Um, well, I had some more questions, but you need to get going. Um, Maybe next time we'll find out what it means to be a guardian and those types of things. I know some people have been asking that question. So,
Okay.
guardian, you'll be joining us again in a few weeks' time, is what you said?
Mm-hmm. Not sure
Oh,
when, but we will, I don't know, like, talk about it soon.
yeah.
Although we are having difficulties with our Skype communications, notifications have not been favorable lately.
Yeah, that's been really weird. And
Yeah,
I'll
like,
go
if
there
you
and there's
don't
not
check
even any new messages.
manually the app, you won't see anything. Like, it doesn't even update itself for some reason.
Yeah, it's so weird. The way I communicate with Guardian is solely through Skype. I don't. He doesn't connect, and so that sometimes I'll go on there and Guardian and has messaged me a couple of times
I
for
messaged you for 2 weeks.
my gosh. So
Yeah, maybe I should move to Telegram too.
perhaps.
Yeah,
Well, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for all your questions and comments. I see everybody. I didn't get a chance to address everybody, but I saw all of you. Thank you for joining in Guardian. Thank you for being here and having this lovely conversation with us.
so thank you for this awesome opportunity, and can't wait for the next one. And I hope that everyone has an awesome good night's sleep, and
Yes.
hold tight for the full moon.
The full moon and the 22nd. I
Yeah,
love
have
you all. Thank you.
an awesome day. Bye.